good, everybody? What is good? It is back. Sorry about the background. I got to do my white balance. Don't trip on me. I got to do some things, but we're going to have it hyped up and ready. But we are back, Big Mike. What's going on, dog?
What is up, brother? Long time no see. I thought, you know, I thought we broke up or something. You don't call, you don't text, you don't write,
Yeah, I know. We got that type of relationship. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we got to take a break. You know, the relationships, we got to take a break. Sometimes you got to come back and you feel me and do all those good things like that. But we are back in the building after a big hiatus, and now we are here. And now it's time to talk some Cowboys football, dog. So we've been out some weeks. The draft is tomorrow. Let's talk about the draft first, okay?
hmm
Because I was listening to you yesterday on your Twitter, and you were saying some things on your Twitter where you were like, my sources, I don't like saying that, but my sources are saying blah, 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 blah. Talk to me about the draft and what are you hearing in the air about the draft, Mike, and tomorrow's pick?
It's funny you say that because right before, in our little countdown, Dane Brugler just said the Cowboys are an interesting wild card at the back half of round one. I don't see Barton, Botano, or the LT they want falling to 24, and doubtful that they'll trade up. A trade back feels like the most realistic scenario, or maybe out of the first round altogether. And my reply to that was, that sounds great, but they care entirely too much about that fifth year option to do that. So back to your point, me saying what I was saying is I don't feel like they're going. What's up, Donna? So I don't feel like they're going to force a need in the first round. If they get wiped out, I know there's a couple players that they really like,
Well, talk to
and
me. Who the players? Don't
I
be
mean
sneaky.
we know who they
Who?
are.
No, we don't
Chop,
know who they are. They're like
chop,
Chop.
chop.
What I'm saying from Penn State.
Yes, sir.
Ooh, wait,
Yes, sir.
I didn't hear that. That's a
They
super
got they
deep.
got a damn good strength and conditioning program up there. They got a good relationship with that coach, Mr. Mustache, that you see me posting all the time. I may have talked to him. I don't know. But so I don't see them forcing a need when it's not there. You can't even you like so like when they took Taco. Cool. They took Taco. They forced a need. They wanted an edge rusher. They came out of the first round with an edge rusher. If Taco's gone, now what do you do? And to assume that this front office is capable enough to think on the fly, trade back, still in the first round, and pick up their fallback option. I mean, that's a nice that's a nice story to tell yourself. But is there not decades of history, especially the last decade, of that phone's got to ring? They're not proactive with it. At the end of the day, when that phone rings, you lose, you win the deal. When you call the other phone, you lose the deal. And obviously, in a salary cap league, we only got so much pie, and it is, and it ain't, and it will be. That's what you get. So I'm just connecting dots, and I'm sure I'll get drugged for that, you know. But if it turns out what I say, nobody will say anything. The fact of the matter is, if the need isn't there at 24 that you're trying to force, well, you look over at your scouts and you go, we like that wide receiver, don't
Right,
we? We like that edge rusher, don't we?
right. There it is. So this could be a BPA then, basically what you're talking.
If if they trust their
Okay, well,
scout,
let me ask you this. We're talking about O-line. You mentioned DN, you mentioned receiver, because there's some guys out there, receiver, there's some DNs out there that you can scoop. I'm going to ask you about Sam Williams as well. But what offensive linemen are they particularly looking at 24 to say that if he is not there, then we're going to probably trade back?
JPJ.
So we got Jackson Powers Johnson. What
Yep.
about Graham Barton from Duke?
I think he's gone top 15.
Okay. So Jackson Powers Johnson, because he has been falling in the draft. So if he is
Yeah,
there,
there's some medical stuff. Him and Mims are going to have the same issue tomorrow night.
okay. But if Jackson Powers Johnson is there, you think they're taking him?
It'd be a pretty safe bet, yeah, and that wouldn't be forcing a need. I
Right.
just doubt that he makes it there because there's
Right.
going to be a run
Of offensive
somewhere in between 12 and 19
linemen.
of offensive linemen,
Mhm.
and they may get wiped out.
What about
And
Jonathan Morgan from Arizona? I've been hearing a lot about him. I liked him as well. I interviewed him. I like him as well. He can slide guard or tackle. What if he's there from Arizona?
possibly, yeah, I mean that's one of the things though. Once these offensive linemen start getting pulled, because the league is finally catching on to, and we've talked about this as we've been doing this damn show. The amount of edge rushers and linebackers and safeties that can blitz and run in the pocket or in the box, if you will, that come out every single year versus the maybe two, three at best, like all pro caliber or offensive linemen, and that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And you hear about there is legit chatter on teams trading up for an offensive lineman. That's how down bad the league is right now. That's a stupid idea. You don't trade up in the first round for anything but like a damn quarterback. Period. I don't care if it's Julio Jones. Atlanta lost that trade. Argue with your dog. The fact of the matter is, when you got guys openly talking about trading up in the first round for offensive line, there's a good chance that what Dallas wants there. They have this plan, I've been talking. They always, we know what position they're targeting. The name doesn't necessarily matter, but when you're in the last quarter of the draft, assuming that guy is going to be there you want is incredibly foolish. That's incredibly foolish. And now that they've broadcasted the fact that they won offensive line at 24, what's it to a GM who's, going to get fired if his quarterback gets hurt again, you know, or something like, either way, what's it to him to burn next year's two to get up, snipe that damn offensive lineman? At that point, trading up at the back half of the first, the back quarter of the first, when you're in the back quarter of the first, you're burning little to nothing to it. So that's the scenario they're looking at, and that's what leads me back to they may not even be able to force a need at 24.
Right. Because somebody might just fall into their laps because of the way the draft happens. Now, I can
Yes.
definitely see that. And also, the trade back is always big when you hit around the 20th range and down. The trade back is always big because that's where you can acquire picks. And we know that fourth round pick is gone due to Trey Lance. So we're going to talk about that. But I wonder what's going to happen. So before we talk about some other things, Dallas has 3 picks. They don't have a 4th rounder. They have to hit on those 3 picks. In your opinion, Mike, what 3 positions would they go after in those first 3 picks?
Offensive line, running back, linebacker.
Right. That's exactly what I was thinking. I think that's what we're all thinking.
Jonathan Brooks is just go ahead and put him here.
Yeah.
Their
Yeah.
cowboy hat did the surgery. It
Yep.
just put him here.
That's why I said I mentioned other people in my mock drafts, but Jonathan Brooks, because he's injured, I feel like he falls right to Dallas. You get what I'm
Blue
saying?
Star special.
It's
Blue Star special.
Blue
He's
Star
injured.
special.
Was
Yep.
once really good. Their
Yep.
surgeon did their in-house surgeon did the surgery. The same surgeon that said Jalen
Yep.
Smith's going to be ready for training camp. By the way,
Right. Right.
so
Yeah, I feel like he's a foregone conclusion. I feel like he's going to fall in the last because of the injury. So I feel like that's why they're going after him as well, is because he's injured. Dallas has worked on him. He was a good player prior, and they're going to use that. So let's just go ahead and count Jonathan Brooks being on the team right now.
unless
And those
somebody
other,
unless somebody unless somebody takes him.
I
But if
doubt
he's there,
it.
if he's dude, I'll say it
I
like this:
doubt it.
if
He's a
he's
running
on
back.
their if he's still on the board at their second round pick and they pass by him, I will be absolutely shocked.
They ain't going to do that. They're not going to do that because they've already sold it. Stephen Jones already talked about him and sold it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't feel like Brooks is to me is a
Oh,
foregone
they just
conclusion
love talking. They just
in
love
those
talking.
in those three picks. I mean, he's told us that we worked on him, we did this, we love him, blah 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 blah. Yeah, I mean, you're telling them you're picking him, and he's injured. I think that's the biggest thing because he's injured, and they feel confident because they can pick him up because he is injured. And just like you said, offensive linemen. I think of Jonathan Morgan's there. I think they'll seriously look at that. Um, but linebacker, that's going to be, there's multiple players that could play, could be in the fold for the linebacker. But I do want to ask you about the defensive end because you mentioned Chop Robinson. Now, Stephen Jones mentioned Sam Williams, and he said, we think the world of Sam, blah, 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 blah. We love Sam, but, Sam wants to play more, and we're going to see this year. Does Sam start this year, or are they worried about Sam? Is that why they want to pick another defensive end, or do they want to pick another defensive end just to add to the room because they got gutted a little bit? Talk to me
Yeah,
about that.
they only got two, and one. If he doesn't retire, he's definitely leaving next year.
Who, Tank?
Yeah,
Tank
and
ain't retired, dog.
if you're talking about Sam Williams, I mean, go 6 months without getting in some trouble. Go 2 games without doing a boneheaded play and costing the
I,
team.
I get that, but are they looking? I understand everything you're saying. I agree with you, but this is year 3 now, Mike. Is he starting?
He has to. They don't have a choice. Who else are they going to put there?
Right. Do you think he play if let's say he stays on the course? Do you think he has a big year?
I think that if he can control himself, he can be a damn good player.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But unfortunately, his social media posts don't help much. You're looking at a person who's not exactly well adjusted to normal human interaction,
It
and
should be. It's year 3.
I well aware of Bubba.
Right.
And I keep going. He had absolutely backbreaking penalties.
Mm-hmm. He was one of the top
Absolutely,
guys on the defense that was penalized
absolutely back.
once again.
And he's still. I'm a dog. You see his. I know you see his post.
Yeah, I see his post. I see his
I'm a
post.
be. I'm a be mean. It's honestly there's a little Kelvin Joseph out there with the just disconnect between here and here. Which you could be the
It's to
most
the point now where Sam Wayne's like, just stop talking about it, just do it. Like we you don't got to tell us you're a dog. We seen in those few couple of years. We know you can. Now it's just time for you to just stay out of trouble, be quiet, and handle your business. You can talk later, but right now you're
Can you go?
not in the position to really talk right now.
and you go 3 games without hurting the team, because that's where he's at right now.
Yeah.
That's
But are you feeling
flat
what
out.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
Just be
yeah,
quiet.
exactly.
It's okay
Yeah,
to talk. I don't care about somebody talking, but you got to produce. So get out there and produce a little bit, then talk. But right now, you haven't really produced.
or change up what you're saying. Don't talk like you're Nas writing ether when you don't have none of this record to back it up, bro. You
Right.
know, like it's that everybody's wrong with me. I'm gonna get my chance. Y'all gonna see. I'll show you. It's like, yeah, dude, you showed us on 4th down when you extended 4 of them last year because you're a fucking idiot and you smacked into the punter or the kicker or jumped off sides. Like, my bad on that one, but like man, like you don't
Play
get
smarter
called.
football.
Like, exactly.
Play smarter football. Like we get it. We don't want to hear the tweets anymore. Play smarter football. You're an NFL player. This year 3. The team is counting on you. Dallas can't afford you to be making bonehead mistakes on special teams. What you're probably going to get taken off, we don't know. But on special teams, big plays on downs, it's
Oh
at the
my
point
god.
now. It's year 3. You have to. You need to be the 10 sack guy now. Like they need 10 sacks from you. They need
And
they need all that from you.
there can't be this, like, there's no way to quantify, like, EPA or whatever. There's no way to quantify how bad those 4th down penalties are, or kickoff penalties, or whatever the case. Those special teams penalties are absolute backbreakers. Because
Mhm.
when you got, especially when you're talking, the defense goes on special teams. So you held them. Cool. They're going to punt. Cool. They're going to punt from their own 15, matter of fact, because we already got a couple sacks. Hell, hell yeah. And then you smoke the punter. And not only do they get to continue on, but they get the yardage out of it, man. That's like
And
a,
then they probably score.
that's like a 40-yard and 6-point penalty off the
Mhm.
bat.
Mhm.
It's so bad. And you can't, it's inexcusable. It's flat out inexcusable, and it's brain dead activity that your typical middle school player doesn't make consistent. They may have one a season, not 2 a month. It's
Well, like I said, hopefully, it's year 3. They obviously are probably talking to him like it's year 3. We need to see
yeah,
something. I know they're talking to him. So it's just now it's just the point that he's got to do it. But now I want to talk. I want to pivot and talk about. I don't want to go deep into it, but we got to talk about it. It's the day before the draft.
hmm
I did a video about Dak Prescott probably about 4 days ago on Saturday after he was at his cancer event with Troy Aikman. This is the first time Dak really spoken. It just looked like a Dak that I haven't really seen from Dak, in my opinion. I haven't seen this Dak where he's like, Dak is usually gun ho for the team. I'm not saying he wasn't; he was still on the team, but now it was just like,
uh,
hey,
he
it is
broke
what it
character.
is. It is what it
He,
is now. He's like, hey, if it happens, it happens. I'm with it. It don't matter no more. Give me your thoughts on just we've been talking about this Dak thing for so long, but give me your thoughts on that interview and how do you feel about
as someone, little backstory on Doug for people who don't know, he grew up watching Peyton Manning, went to the Manning camp, watched how he conducted himself with the media. That's why you get this, to the fact where people, and you know this, to the point where people saying, "Oh, but Dak ain't about us. Dak ain't, he
it?
more
Right, right,
right
right,
than he
right,
is, you
right,
know." So,
right.
but he grew up watching Peyton Manning and the way he dealt with the media, and he's never going to put you in a spot. He's not going to Baker Mayfield you. He's not going to Deshaun Watson you. He's not, Jameis Winston. He's not going to do that to you in the media, especially when you're the quarterback of the Cowboys, which is the heaviest crown in the NFL. I don't give a shit. There's no
Agreed.
hell. Maybe the heaviest crown in sports, bro. if we're being
Right.
honest.
Agreed.
So the fact that he broke character, when they said, "Are you, what are you looking at in 2025?" Uh, or 24, sorry. Uh, you saw the gears, like, all right, like the clutch was slipping on the old quarterback speak machine, and the clutch was slipping. All right, let's get it back in gear. All right. Well, my agent handles that, this, that. I'm here to bring the Super Bowl to Dallas. He's done. Like, and you see the way people talk about him online. He hears that shit. Can't go anywhere without hearing that shit. And when you have this ownership that comes out the way they do, how much Detroit spent $265 million today. Did you hear anything
Mm-hmm.
about leading up to that?
Mm-hmm.
About how they debate? They don't know if Sewell's in. They don't know. There's St. Brown. Is uh, you know we lost in the playoffs. Matter of fact, who beat them last year? So, and it just happens. They just get signed. And this is not the second time, or the third time, or the fourth time, or even the sixth time that Dak has dealt with this shit in the media. That thing you're referencing, when they were at the kids' cancer gala, and they're there. He's there with Troy Aikman and Romo, and they're trying to raise money to fight children's cancer. And he's being asked about his fucking football contract when his mom died from cancer. Bruh, like, now it's to a point where Dak, we all know it. Dak grew up idolizing the Cowboys. So there's photos of him in Cowboys gear as a young ass kid and everything like that. He got his dream job. He's playing football for the Dallas Cowboys. But at a certain point, you realize they don't love you the way you love them, and they don't want to win the same way you do. They won't. They won't put in a 14-hour day. They won't build a whole ass football field in their backyard. They won't hire private coaches to teach them how to GM. They hire their drinking buddy from college to run the cat situation. And you watch these contracts across the league from your peers get done. St. Brown, like I said, St. Brown Sewell, just today. There's only so much you can ask a man to take before his heaven becomes a hell.
Yeah, I've been saying that as well. I've been very adamant in the last week or so about Dak do not re-sign with Dallas. Not just because I don't care what happens to Dallas. This is just me, okay? I don't care if Dallas goes to 5-16 or 5-13. I don't care. They can go 5-13, 4-15. I don't care. Okay? Because see, y'all act like y'all the football guys and y'all act like y'all the smartest. And just like I've been looking at your tweets, they've been so on point where things have been handed to you. And I'm gonna say this, Mike, and I've been saying this when Jerry got the team and he picked up Jimmy Johnson. See, it wasn't about the brand then because you had to reestablish football because Dallas football wasn't good. They had to reestablish football in that
They were
short
on the
period of
verge of
time.
he sold the team because they were on the verge of bankruptcy.
Right. But listen to what I'm saying though. Dallas was not a good football team. You feel me? So they put all that effort in building up the team before the brand because you couldn't build the brand before the team because the team wasn't good at that time. They built the team in that short period of time, right? In 5 years, right? Now your football guy is gone. Now it's up to you, Jerry and Steven, to replicate what you did before. And free agency has killed them because they haven't been great in free agency. free agency has killed them since after their last Super Bowl. So they haven't been good in free agency. And when we look at all this time, they haven't did anything football. They haven't come close to what they did before. So that just proves. And then just what listen to you when I was looking at your tweets when you were talking about Stephen Jones when we brought up Baltimore Ravens GM, and then you brought up his whole profile of how he worked his way up, and then you gave Stephen Jones's, who basically played a little football, but it was a chemist engineer. It was just handed to you. So what? So you're trying to tell us, Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones, that y'all are the football guys. Y'all know the football things, and everything's all right. But there has not been any kind of success from this point. And it's, in my opinion, not going to continue to be. Yeah, what you're doing, going through the draft, is smart.
Uh-oh.
Okay, you built through the young people. Go ahead.
Here's Bubba. You're start
You hear me
distorting.
now?
You're distorting really bad.
Am I distorting bad on the chat, y'all? Let me know. I got some static.
Okay. There you go. There you go.
Is my mic good?
Yeah, let's just sing a song about living, singing, ooh, give me, ooh.
Hold on, I'm gonna go out and come back in. You talk.
No,
Sounds
you're
good.
good. Just hit a long note. I just need to hit a long note.
Okay. All right, cool. It says sounds better now. Okay, they sound
Yeah.
good. All right.
All right, go,
So,
go, go.
all right. So, what we're talking about with this thing with Dak. Now, talk to me about this Trey Lance thing. Is Trey Lance? I said this today. They're going to give all the energy for Trey Lance because they need to see what he's about. So, minicamp, OTAs, training camp, and will he be damn near the starter in every preseason game? What's up with Trey Lance?
I mean, Dak's not going to miss the workout. Dak hasn't missed a workout even when he was waiting on that second contract, but first real contract. That's not the way he's wired. That dude was there at OTAs and already had the lights cut on in the locker room. Like, that's just not the way he's wired. Now, training camp comes along and his wide receiver ain't been paid and Mike ain't been paid and y'all fucked the draft up and y'all didn't pick up anybody with the roster cuts. That's a different story. I think that may be the first time that you see Dak actually be the bad guy is when they go to auction because I don't blame him. If it gets to that point where your draft was terrible, you didn't get anybody after the fact, you haven't been aggressive during training camp, which is where they really like to add their, you know, that's their free agency, second wave of free agency. If you want to be nice about
That's a
it,
big gamble, though, Mike, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely it is, absolutely it is. So is it a reach to say that Dak Prescott knows more about football than Catboy?
Nope, not at all. He don't know football, bro. He's just talking
Regardless,
to McClay.
yeah, regardless of how you feel about him as a player, or like not you, but literally
Yeah,
anybody, like
yeah,
the
yeah.
biggest Dak hater on the face of the fucking planet would not say that Catboy knows more about football than Dak Prescott.
Hell no. Nope.
Absolutely not. I mean, you don't get to the league the way he did and stay in the league the way he did
Well, see,
without
you know
no.
what? I didn't mean to cut you off, Mike, but you know what?
No, you're good, Bubba.
Stephen Jones is so intelligence when he was talking about the offensive line. He's like, well, we got some guys that a lot of people don't know about. Yeah, we do. We all know about these dudes, Sid Richards and TJ Bass and all. We know about them. Stop talking to us. See, that's the problem. He talks to us like we're stupid. And that's the
That's the
problem.
he talks. I had that tweet. He said he talks to us like we're in a cult in Utah where we don't have internet. And he's like, if you don't eat your cabbage at night, a goblin come by and steal your dick. No, I don't think that's right. Let me look that up real quick. Turns out there's no cabbage goblin, and you're full of shit. And the way they talk, I'm glad you brought that up. The way they talk is literally like that. It's like they assume we have no idea about any other team in the league, about the CBA, about how you can manipulate the cap, about draft stock, about any of that. And they just speak down their nose to you. I promise. You can pull the receipts. If you pick my second round picks or even run my drafts, I'll be that. I didn't even pick Dak that draft, but you can run it up. It'll be all right. Run my mock drafts against what they have done since 2014, and you would have a better team. Uh oh, static above us. I got big static above us. It sounds like you almost got two different mic pickups on. Is there a mic pickup on the monitor or anything? Yeah. Hey, honestly, when you tap your mic, I'm not even getting it. Your mic's picking up from the monitor or something. Because when you tap the mic, I should get a bump bump. I don't get a bump bump. Mm-mm, no bump bump. No, it's just us. So that's fine. We will. You may need to. Hey, change that input to your mic. Little settings button down at the bottom of the restream screen. Make sure your audio input is on that mic because you're picking up way too much background shit. Or we can just pop some buds in. Now,
Testing, testing.
there you go. There, bingo, bango, dude. That is,
Good.
you're clear. Yeah, you're clear. Hey, I can
Yeah.
hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. That's clear as day, Bubba.
Say
All right,
something.
so you may need to change the audio output to whatever you're rocking on because your mic's picking up good. That mic sounds sexy as hell. I was gonna say is like you got that brand. Yeah, the mic's on. I got you on the mic, Bubba.
Okay, I'm good.
I got you on the mic. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, let's rock.
All right, there we go. Hey, I'm doing the plane, building the plane in the air, like they say.
Hey, dude, hey, you sound so sexy right now. Put some lotion. Well, hey, just you got to lotion up them elbows, and
All
we'll be
right,
good to go.
all right. So we talked about pretty much everything we need to talk about. Um, what's your feelings? Mike McCarthy hired an agent. He's preparing for whatever. What's your feelings as we head into this year before we kind of head off of here? What's your feelings with Mike McCarthy, the team? What's your feelings?
I feel like he may be. I don't know anything about this. I know something about the quarterback. I don't know about this. Maybe he feels the same way the quarterback does. And he's like, man, this clown show is just.
And I said that, Mike. I said that if he were to be let go, right, and there was another team that was to pick him up, and they were to be like, "Well, why are we going to keep you?" Do you see what I want? I won all them games. They hadn't won. I did something that they haven't done to the '90s, and I had to deal with a zoo. How would that? How would he not say that? Because
That
he's away from
I
the
had a
Cowboys.
I have a tweet. It's like being the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys is like you're babysitting 17 toddlers who somehow have an endless supply of matches. No matter how many matches you take away, they still have another one in their hand. Like, God damn it, where'd you get that? And like, I don't think that any respectable coach will work for Steven. Like maybe
Bill Belichick.
Jerry. Belichick
Would they
wants.
go? Would they go after Bill Belichick if, let's say, if it? So okay.
I mean, they'd have to let go of McClay.
Ooh, they ain't doing that.
Mm. Which I say that, but with them letting go of Will McClay to bring Belichick on as coach GM not make so much sense for them. For them, not reality, but them.
Yeah. Um, Dog, I'm just tell you right now, I this is just a terrible year for me. You lost 12 people, you didn't replenish. If you don't do the trade back, um, you have three picks where you are short on defensive ends, defensive tackles. You need a receiver, you need a running back, you need a linebacker, you need some more offensive linemen, and you need to hit on all those picks this year. And your class from last year has to step up. You still don't know what you have in Mozzie. You could have got some defensive tackles for some good rates. I don't know where in the hell do you think that this team is going to be better? And these Joneses, just listening to Jerry Jones, I feel like it's just disrespectful, Mike, when Jerry Jones is in there like, we're all in. We're all in. At the press conference, almost like mocking us as fans. And you heard Stephen Jones chuckling multiple times when he kept on saying we're all in, like laughing at us, like y'all think this is a laughing matter. And I said, the ownership don't go to bed losing sleep when you're the number one organization and you haven't smelled a championship game and yet you're still the number one organization money wise. How are you losing sleep? Troy Aikman says nobody inside this building wants to win more than them. I'm tired of hearing that. I don't believe Troy. Why are you saying I'm not believing any of that? They don't want to win like that because if they did, they would do every option like these other teams to do it. And then they try to clown us like we're the bad people for wanting them to do more, and y'all ain't did nothing. Like, okay. And then when I listen to Stephen Jones, like I said, I just feel like You ain't on Dak because I keep on hearing them. Oh well, we made the playoffs all these years, the last 3 years. I keep on hearing him say that, but we keep on falling short. And then he mentioned Dak, and then he mentioned all these other players. I mean, bro, Stephen Jones, man, oh my God, it's just crazy, dog.
Well, you know that we went all in last year and we still lost in the same round of the playoffs. So, at the end of the day, it's up to our quarterback to get it done. Like he said, they went all in when they traded 2 day 3 picks for 1 year rentals of vets who really helped the team. They really, Brandon Cooks and Gilmore really helped the team.
Mm-hmm.
You lost because your coach sucks and because you have a philosophy that isn't conducive to winning in the modern NFL. And you have the fact that, you know, Dan Quinn threw that game.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, I can agree with that. It, that's a strong
He was
statement, but I
he
can
was
agree with
tech,
that if you just look
it's
at the
no
team
it,
how it played.
it's it's no
But
different.
Dak was
It
at
was
fault too. Now I want to say this though, Mike. I know how much you love Dak, and I love Dak too. But
Yes,
Dak was at fault, and
he
he
was
was
responsible
responsible in that game too.
for 14 of the 38 points that they scored.
Early,
What was happening in the second half? The only three people still fighting on offense was
for
Jake
sure.
Ferguson, Tony Pollard, Dak Prescott.
I
CeeDee Lamb
agree.
had quit.
I agree. But
That's
that's still, and we know that's how Dak is. But the fact still remains that the team choked, and he was part of it. And I feel like this, and this is the reason why, just coming from this perspective, Mike, that's why I feel like they don't believe in him because they've had these teams with Mike
they've never
McCarthy.
have.
Oh, they never have. But what I'm saying is, it was more ammunition for them in these last 3 years when they had these teams and they didn't win. I feel like that was more ammunition for them to say, this is why we're going to wait. This is why we're not going to re-sign him to this big money because we had good teams and we didn't win. And keep on hearing Jerry saying basically putting it on him.
When Tony Romo went 8-8 3 years in a row, 3 years in a row, and reset the market on the quarterback contract. Factual information. It happened. It was like 110, maybe I think it may have been 115 at that time. That can't even get close to a fair market deal without being publicly slandered almost every week, if not twice a week during the season, by the people who run the team. And to me, that is so transparent. Like, with the way they've ran this team, Mahomes doesn't get them to a Super Bowl. And that dude is the greatest quarterback we've seen since fucking Marino. I It's so frustrating that people will blame that player when they see all this other stuff that goes on with the front office, paying Jalen Smith, drafting Zeke in the first place, much less paying him, paying Michael Gallup, picking that, restructuring Michael Gallup's 6 month old contract, Like, but somehow that's all goes when the season ends poorly. That all goes to the quarterback, and that's just not something that my brain will allow me to believe because I'm a rational human. And I would say that about any other quarterback in the league, where if a team had done everything they could possibly to surround him with a good atmosphere and he choked, hell yeah, dude, I'd be on his neck. It doesn't matter who it is. But like they have Dak Prescott who has drugged them like three straight 12-win seasons, bro. Like people want to talk about QB wins, but at the end of the day, what has this team been on those years he got hurt? What has this team been on the years Romo got hurt? But you want to label the QB as a problem. And I'm not even a Romo fan. I know he's got bad nerves. And
Mm-hmm.
dude's had bad nerves all of his life. You can see it in his golf game. He'll be leading the pack and then end up shooting 19 over. Oh, there's a big time cook. That's what your daddy Jerry Jones told you. So
Can you stand me? Can you hear me?
Dak is a coach killer and a show artist. Oh my God.
What? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
but you're real quiet. Your mic's picking up from a different thing now. It's not your mic.
Hold
Can you hear me?
Yep, there you go. Keep it on whatever that is. That's running through your mic. Whatever
on.
else you've been doing has been running through you. No, I can, but
Hello?
yep,
My bad.
good.
Yeah, just
Yep.
take it. It's acting weird. All right, I'll figure it out later. Are you there?
Yeah, but you're back on the broadcasting from a toilet.
I got you. Well, let's just call it a day anyway, because
Okay.
my stuff is acting my stuff is acting up, dog. I apologize, y'all. I made the show happen though. I made the show
Yeah,
happen.
I bet there's something conflicting with your Bluetooth, with your earbuds and the mic, and it's going to be on restream with the little settings button out front. Um,
Yeah, I'm a mess with it because I know what it is, but I just ain't got time for it today. But we got a good enough show. You got to hear enough of Mike. You got enough of hear of Mike. I apologize because we got to get ready for this draft show here in a little bit as well. But I appreciate you, Todd. appreciate everybody that's been in the building. We almost got 180 in the building, not including our reach,
Ah, damn.
our Twitter. Yeah, you bring them, Mike. I don't bring them. You bring them. So, um,
Well, I got time tomorrow, so
but we can, hey, we can get a draft. It'll be that first round pick, and me and Mike will talk about it tomorrow. I'm doing
yeah.
the show
I'm
tomorrow early, but you want to pop that show tomorrow? Let's do it.
I'm taking it personally on Friday, so um yeah, I got time.
All right, well, let's make it happen. I'll DM you about the time once I coordinate with my guy on my Best of Enemy show, and then we'll just make it happen. And we'll do that Cowboys first round draft pick, and we'll definitely talk about all that stuff. But from my angle this year is the lame duck season. As soon as we lost and I saw what was happening, I said lame duck season, and I feel like it's not changing from that. And with all the stuff that's going on. You see the body language from Dak, and nobody's being signed. They're not even being talked. I don't know where the how the Cowboys think this is going to be a good year. But let's get it again. Tomorrow, Burgers and Blitzes, the draft edition. Make sure you stay tuned. And Mike, give them a quick plug before we get up off here.
Peace. Thank y'all.
All right, man. My dog Mike. Sorry, I had the mic issue. I got my new stuff. I got to get a lot of kinks out of there, so I do apologize if you hear the background noise. But I will get that set up, and we will go on to live tomorrow. Best of Enemies tomorrow. Live draft with me and Joe Castro, and then Burgers and Blitzes with our first round draft pick. And then tonight, in a little bit, will be the final word with me, Law, and Boss, as well as Lord Brunson, Smitty, and my guy Joe Castro later coming in. So make sure you tune in for that. It's going to go down in about 35 minutes, 40 minutes. So stay tuned. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Burgers and Blitzes. We're back again tomorrow. And let's get it, man. Appreciate y'all.